What's up, crafters? Today we're going to be making some minis for your tabletop games. Never ready for this shit. When I first started out playing D&D, what I did was I got some cardboard and some packing tape and a penny and a hot glue gun, and I made these little guys that you could actually, it's just like a dry erase board, so I can write the name of a creature, such as an orc, and I could use those on the board, but obviously these are not really aesthetically pleasing, are they? So then what I did was I started doing what most people do when they're starting out and need characters, is I started using the internet to print out pictures. And I use these little water bottle caps off of my waters. I actually keep a bunch of them, so I have a good stock. But because I started doing the more marker drawn inking on the cardboard and the pieces that I used for my table, I decided to do something a little bit different, and I started to make these guys here. Now what these are is just basically I traced them on a PC screen and used the same technique that I'm about to show you right now. So let's go down to the table. All you're really going to need for this, some scissors, some type of X-Acto knife, some tape, and some white Elmer's glue or any kind of white glue that you would like to use. And the other thing you're going to need is a pencil to prepare for it. You'll need to draw something to put on the base. So you can either pre-paint them. This one's a little scratched up, but it's actually pre-painted gray. It's just a cap. Or you could use a white cap and paint it after you do it. The way I do these is I basically take the image I'm going to turn into a character and I cut it out very, very roughly. I'm talking square rough. Doesn't matter how good it looks right now because this is just the beginning. Once you have that cut out, you're going to want to take a piece of cardstock. It could come from anything. This came from a tobacco papers box. But anything you want, as long as you remember that when you glue this on here, which is what we're going to do next, glue it to the side with the picture if it has a picture. That way the back will be white. So I'm going to go ahead and coat this in white glue. Make sure you get all the way around the edges. And we're going to stick it right here on the card. The card stock of your choice. You could use index cards, you could use business cards, you could use anything from a cracker box or something like that. I like the white on the background so that when you look at it from the back it's just a white. You could use a black, which would be kind of cool. But this is what I have available right now, so this is what we're using. Next you're going to take a piece of packing tape, and remember your fingerprints get all over this, so you want to make it big enough to cover the character and big enough that you can hold it to put over the character. And we're just going to put this directly on top as kind of like a protective coating. This will also help the glue dry because it'll keep this pinned down to the paper. And in my case I use pencil. If you do smear the pencil on here before you get to this step, you could easily take an eraser and just erase around the edges before you put this tape on, obviously. But I was lucky enough not to smear this at all when I did it right now. So we're good so far. And since the tape is holding it together now, you can go ahead and cut this out directly. You're going to cut about 1/2 inch lower than the feet, straight across first. And then you can use this part down here. I cut out 2 notches that are pretty centered for the character there. And then I cut off the sides. I'm going to bring it up close to the feet. And you're going to cut off the sides like this. And then you have a little tab at the bottom. Then you can go ahead and cut your character out the way you like. I like to get real close to these lines here. So I'm going to try and kind of get all the curves. Not too detailed because you don't want it to be too flimsy. This is like some kind of cat person. I'm not really sure what this is. But it's kind of cool looking, I think. so we're going to use it. Once you have your character cut out, you have this little tab here on the bottom. You're going to take your cap, and you're going to use the dot in the center as a guide. And you're just going to cut each direction with an X-Acto knife. You could also use a hot knife. You just literally take a butter knife and make the edge hot and just touch it. It will actually give you a nice little crevice for this. I want to make sure it's big enough for that to fit into. Make sure it's bent out a little bit so that you have some room. I can see that my cut was not straight. There's 2 slots instead of 1, so there we go. Then you just go ahead and take the piece, and slide it in through there like that, and bend it so it's straight. On the bottom, what I usually do is I use a penny in the bottom to give it some weight so your characters feel good when you're holding them. And what I do is I put some hot glue underneath and hot glue on top in here, and I just glue a penny in. With this particular character, I'm not going to worry about the hot glue, but what I am going to do is just take some regular glue, some white glue. I'm going to put it around the edges a little bit thick. It's going to take a lot longer to dry than a hot glue gun would, but it will keep the character standing up. And if you add a little bit of extra texture with the glue around the base when you paint it, it will look a little bit better. So that's pretty much it. We're going to let that guy dry. And now you have a little mini for your table. And really quickly, I want to tell you guys how I get these. I don't freehand these. Some of the detail I freehand. If you're good at drawing, you can make these a lot cooler because you can draw them yourself. What I do is I actually take a piece of printer paper and I put it up against the screen either on my phone or on Google, and I just trace out the outline of the character, and then I look at the character and fill in the details. So none of these are very, very detailed. Some of them are a little better looking than others, but they're really cool. I like the style. I like the way they look. This was taken off the D&D website, so freehand that I did. So you can kind of do it whatever you want, and once this dries, you'll be able to paint the base gray or black or white or whatever color you want it to be, or you can leave it the way it is. But basically, that's how I make my D&D minis. And right now, I'm currently making a bunch of stuff for Phandalin. Spoiler alert, in case you haven't played through The Lost Mines of Phandelver. This is Sildar when he's tied up. I also made a Yimik, the head goblin. And I'm making a couple of the characters for that. I have the 3 wolves for the first cave in the Kragmaw hideout. So that's what I'm doing. I'm go ahead and build these out. I can make as many of these as I want, and they only cost money if you put a penny in them. So 100 of these for $1. Can't get better than that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys got some ideas. You can do some cool stuff. These are amazing little pieces. They bring the table to life because they're different than most of the things that are sold or people see normally. So they're kind of unique. And you can put your own little stuff in them. You can color them. You can use colored pencils. You can use markers. Whatever you want to do. But you can make guys just like this that easy. So I'll see you guys next time. Keep crafting.